Welcome back to Dracula Daily. Welcome back to whatever's up with Mina and Lucy, and let's just dive right in and see if that bat's coming back. August 14th, Mina Murray's journal. On the East Cliff, reading and writing all day. Lucy seems to have become as much in love with the spot as I am, and it is hard to get her away from it when it is time to come home for lunch or tea or dinner. This afternoon, she made a funny remark. We were coming home for dinner, and she had come to the top of the steps up from the West Pier and stopped to look at the view as we generally do. The setting sun, low down in the sky, was just dropping behind Kettleness. The red light was thrown over the East Cliff and the Old Abbey and seemed to bathe everything in a beautiful rosy glow. We were silent for a while, and then Lucy muttered, as if to herself, "His red eyes again. They're just the same." Uh-oh. It was such an odd expression coming a pro of nothing that it quite startled me. I slewed around a little so as to see Lucy well without seeming to stare at her, and saw that she was in a half-dreamy state, with an odd look on her face that I could not quite make out, so I said nothing but followed her eyes. She appeared to be looking over at our own seat, whereon was a dark figure seated alone. I was a little startled myself, for it seemed for an instant as if the stranger had great eyes like burning flames, but the second look dispelled the illusion. The red sunlight was shining on the windows of St. Mary's Church behind our seat, and as the sun dipped, there was just sufficient change in the refraction and reflection to make it appear as if the light moved. I called Lucy's attention to the peculiar effect, and she became herself with a start, but she looked sad all the same. It may have been that she was thinking of the terrible night up here. We never referred to it, so I said nothing, and we went home to dinner. Okay, I need to stop here really quick. We never refer to it is probably the big mistake of this book in a lot of things, which I know we are talking of the Victorian age, you know, where everything they can't talk about. They can't talk about shit. Because it's scary, and especially with what happened, it's detrimental to Lucy's reputation and all that bullshit. That being said, if they actually would have talked about it, I think it would have solved a lot of the problems that are now coming up down the line. I know this is a very modern perspective, but every time I watch historical fiction or drama or whatever, or read it, I'm just like, my God, if you guys were just allowed to talk openly about things, it would be so much easier for everyone. Like, literally for everyone. That being said, let's continue. Lucy had a headache and went early to bed. I saw her asleep and went out for a little stroll myself. I walked along the cliffs to the westward and was full of sweet sadness for ever thinking of Jonathan. When coming home, it was then bright moonlight, so bright that, though the front of our part of the crescent was in shadow, everything could be well seen. I threw a glance at our window and I saw Lucy's head leaning out. I thought that perhaps she was looking out for me, so I opened my handkerchief and waved. She did not notice or make any movement whatever. Just then, the moonlight crept around an angle of the building and the light fell on the window. There distinctly was Lucy, with her head lying up against the side of the windowsill and her eyes shut. She was fast asleep, and by her, seated on the windowsill, was something that looked like a good-sized bird. I was afraid she might get a chill, so I ran upstairs, but as I came into the room, she was moving back to her bed, fast asleep, breathing heavily. She was holding her hand to her throat as though to protect it from cold. I did not wake her, but I tucked her up warmly. I have taken care that the door is locked and the windows securely fastened. She looks so sweet as she sleeps, but she is paler than is her wont, and there's a drawn, haggard look under her eyes which I do not like. I fear she is fretting about something. I wish I could find out what it is. Mina. The day before, you saw a huge bat on our windows, and now you see something that looked like a huge bird. Can we start putting two and two together, please? Can we start thinking that having animals this close, who are probably, if it was a normal animal, one, should not be that close because that's not regular behavior, and B, probably carry diseases? And Lucy's condition is one thing, but also with her mother being sick. Can we start, being careful with stuff like this? But oh well, it's, oh God. Bless everyone who has no idea how the story goes. Bless those characters who have no idea what's going on yet. But we will know how it will continue the next time. Till then.